Hi everybody! So as you can tell by the title of this video, we are going to be learning how to play Euphoria, aka one of the intros to the Love Yourself series by BTS. More specifically, we're going to be learning the version that I did in my cover, which will be down below for reference, along with the chords and strumming pattern that I will explain in this video. So the first thing that you're going to want to know are the chords. So you don't actually have to tune up or down for this cover. All you have to do is keep your strings in standard tuning, which should sound like this. So your strings would be G, C, E, A. And if you want to make sure that your strings are in tune, I would recommend getting a tuning app. So the first chord that you're going to have to know is G, which is this chord. So you're going to have open on the G string, first finger on the second fret of the C string, third finger on the third fret of the E string, and second finger on the second fret of the A string. So it should sound like this. The next chord that you're going to want to know is A, which is this chord. So you're going to have second finger on the second fret of the G string, and your first finger on the first fret of the C string, and E and A should be open, so it should sound like this. The last chord that you're going to have to know is B minor. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your first finger and bar your first finger all across the second fret, and then you're going to take your third finger, or your second, but I personally prefer my third finger, and place it on the fourth fret of the G string, so it should sound like this. And yeah, those are all the chords that you need to know. Now we are going to learn the strumming pattern. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is the intro, which is actually not as complicated as you might think. So I'm going to try and explain this in the way that makes sense to me, and hopefully makes sense to you as well. So basically what you do for the intro is you're going to pluck all the strings like this, and then you're going to pluck the E string individually and the C string individually, and repeat that pattern until you get to the first verse. So without a string, without the chords, it should sound like this. So how I would personally play this, in the back of my head, I would be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And the reason why I would do this is because each number corresponds to a pluck. So 1 would correspond to plucking all the strings, and then 2 would correspond to plucking the E string individually, and then 3 would correspond to plucking the C string individually. So if I were to count and play this at the same time, it would be like this. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh yeah, that's my dog, by the way. The reason why you wouldn't count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is because you're not plucking the C string at the end of that pattern, that's why you would only count 1, 2 at the very end, and then repeat the whole chord, the whole strumming progression, the plucking progression, I mean. But yeah, that's how you would basically do it. And so when you add the chords in, you would be playing the G chord around 3 times for that whole 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 duration, and then you would play A for the 1, 2, 3 in the second part of the duration, and then B minor in the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 part of the final, the second duration, if that makes sense. So overall, it should sound like this if I pluck the strings with the chords and count. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then we get to the first verse. So the first verse is actually extremely easy. What you have to do is just pluck all strings and not do anything after that, and just let the chord ring out. And the reason why I call it letting the chord ring out is because, when you pluck the strings, the sound rings out into the air, which is why I call it that, and it makes the most sense to me. I just realized I need to explain this, so yeah, that's why. So basically you're gonna pluck all strings so the chord holds, and then just pluck it to whatever beat or what word it corresponds with. So personally, I would either check my cover for reference, because I don't know if I want to sing the whole thing, if you can just check it there. And if anything, you can always check the original as well. So, or I'll just sing one line. 너는 내 삶에 다시 뜬 햇빛 something like that. So each chord falls on a specific word. So after you pluck all strings and let the chords ring out for around like 4 times or so, I'm not really sure. I would recommend going back to the cover for reference. You switch to a different strumming pattern within the same verse. Basically what you're gonna do is pluck all strings and slap. So it's just this. And with the chords it should sound like this. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just, there's no like specific rhythm that you have to follow, it's just like a standard rhythm on beat rhythm. After you do that, you're going to get to the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus and the bridge have the exact same strumming pattern, so that's why I'm just gonna group them here. Basically what you're gonna do is pluck all strings on each beat. So on each beat, I mean basically counting 1, 2, 3, 4 and plucking on each number when you count. So basically this is what it sounds like. And I'm gonna sing the song so that like I don't get lost. 저기 멀리서 바다가 들려 꿈을 건너서 슬픈 너머로. So basically you're gonna pluck the G chord 3 times, pluck the A chord 1 time, and then pluck the B minor chord 4 times. So it should basically sound like this when you play it with the chords. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're gonna stop, and then you're going to pluck G, mute your strings. So basically how you're gonna mute it is just like pluck and then place like this part of your hand, like your outer inner palm, your palm, basically place your palm on the strings, but not slapping though. So you're just gonna pluck like that and make sure that you can't hear like the sound from the strings, and then you're gonna do that with G and then A, and then you're gonna get to the chorus. So the chorus is actually like it's the strumming pattern that I use really often. You're just gonna pluck all strings, strum up, and then slap. So it should sound like this. So you do that for the G chord 2 times, and then for the A chord and B minor chord, you do that once for each chord. You're just gonna basically do that until you get to the second verse, which is basically plucking all strings and slapping like this. Similar to what we did in the first verse without holding or like letting any chords like ring out. And afterwards you're gonna get to the next chorus, which is basically the same strumming pattern, and then you're gonna get to the bridge, which is the same pattern as the pre-chorus, so you can always refer back to that section. And then we get to the outro. So the outro may seem really complicated, but once I break it down for you, hopefully it's not as complicated. So the first thing you're gonna do is pluck all strings 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then you're gonna pluck E, C, E. So what I would do is just basically is like plucking in a segment. So it would be pluck all strings 3 times, and then E, C, E. That would be 1 segment, and then you do repeat that over, and each chord would basically have their own segment. So it would be like this if I added the chords. G and A have 1 segment each, and then B minor has 2 segments. So I'm gonna do the last 2 segments for B minor like at the very end of the cover to show you what you're gonna do at the end. So 1, 2. You can either strum down lightly or you can pluck and let the chord ring out. I think in the cover I just plucked the chord. So yeah, you can just do whatever the heck you want to do to make it sound, you know, nice and faded out. And yeah, that's actually all there is to Euphoria. Hopefully this wasn't too difficult and you guys like don't have too hard of a time learning it. But if you do have any questions and need like more clarification on anything, I'm always here. I won't be replying on weekdays, but I will be replying on weekends. If anything, yeah, I'll pretty much be here. So yeah. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'll have my Snapchat and Instagram linked down below, and you can see me try and be funny for, I don't know, for some reason. And please make sure to check out my channel for like any new covers. If you're not subscribed yet, you can subscribe if you want. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, you can. I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you are, and I love you all very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everybody!